Well, guys, I've been super busy this week and I haven't put out any videos, and here's why. So, let me just give you a little bit of a backstory here. Like, I bought my Helix probably, I don't know, it was like 2015, I think. I think I was one of the first people in Michigan to actually get one, and I was really excited about it. And I dialed in all my stuff and, enjoyed it a lot more than I did the Pod HD 500X anyways. I mean, it was just a great step up from that. And I really enjoyed how it sounded and spent a lot of time like getting different people's IRs and different people's presets and stuff like that. Went through the whole, down the rabbit hole thing and found my way out of that, thankfully. But eventually I started getting back into amplifiers for the channel, and I started really gravitating towards the amps more. And one of the biggest reasons is every time I played my Helix, I felt like there was something missing. There was like this thing that amps do that I just couldn't get out of my Helix, whether it's feel or on a tonal level. I mean, I just found that it was just kind of lacking in those areas. No matter whose IRs I tried, I still felt like there was something missing. The guitar just didn't have that really nice attack and aggression and fullness that I was looking for. And I got really frustrated, so I switched my Helix from an all-in-one guitar sound unit to a 4-cable method unit that was the hub of all my gear down here. So I still utilized it, but I utilized it to control my amps and add effects and do all the switching and routing and stuff. And thank God it's such a flexible unit. And because it's so flexible, I was able to transition it from using it for my guitar tones to controlling all of my amps and using it for effects and routing and stuff. And as you may or may not know, Line 6 was kind enough to invite me to be part of their marketplace a couple of years ago. Now, at that time, I hadn't used the Helix for guitar tones at all, so I had to dive back into it and create some presets for the marketplace, and I was happy to do so, and actually I was honored to do it because, like I said, it's kind of cool when a company asks you to partner with them on their marketplace. So I started digging into it again and getting different IRs and dialing in all my presets for the website, and I thought for what they were, they sounded good, okay? I was happy to put them in there. But every time I went back to my amps, I was like, man, there's something missing. Well, I did an experiment about a week ago. I called my friend TJ. You guys know who he is. He's actually recording my album right now. So I said, hey, have you ever made impulse responses before? And he's like, no. I said, do you have the gear, like, the software and stuff like that to do it? And he looked into it and he said, you know what? I watched a video about it and I do have all the gear. I had some gear too. So between the two of us, we had enough gear. So he comes over, we set everything up, and within like 10 minutes, we were shooting impulse responses. And after doing some tweaks, regarding volume levels and stuff like that, the third one came out absolutely perfect. And we were like, oh my God, that's the sound of my cab. And I was like, dude, I haven't heard the sound of my cab in an impulse response in years. Even if I bought an impulse response with the same cab, same speakers, same mics and everything, it still didn't sound like my cab. It had this weird sound to it all the time. And I was like, what's going on here? And so I used the Royer 121 and the SM57, put it in the sweet spot on my cab. We shot the impulse response, and it sounded about as close as you can get it to my cab. And I played it in my Helix, and I'm like, dude, this is the first time since I've ever owned this product that I actually can hear what I'm familiar with hearing when I play my Helix. So then, to make sure, we compared that impulse response that we did here to a whole bunch of different impulse responses that I've bought for over the years and had in my computer. And mind you, these are impulse responses of the same mics, the same speaker, and the same cab. And I had a ton of them because it's my favorite speaker cab mic configuration. And none of them sounded even close to what my impulse response sounded like. Not even close. They sounded really hollow. There was no low end. There was no chunk. There was no fullness. The top end was really weird and muffled sounding, and it sounded like it had a blanket over it, and it was all mids, it was basically like the IR was like a mid hump, and there was no highs and no lows on either side of that mid hump, and that's all we got. There was no aggression, there was no texture in the guitar tone, it was all very dull. That seemed to be the trend for a while, and that's what my suspicion was. I was like, it seems like there's a trend with impulse responses over the last several years that has veered towards, let's make them mix ready. You know, let's do this sculpting thing to them where we pull out the low end and we pull out the high end and we make them sit in a mix properly by giving it some extra mids or something like that. And the thing is when you do this to an impulse response or just any guitar tone, what's happening is you're taking all that texture, character, aggression, attack out of the top end area of the guitar tone, and you're also taking out that nice thump, that thud, that punch out of the bottom end of it, and all you have left is this really hollow, mid-honky sounding, you know, guitar tone. And I'm not kidding you, no matter who the company was, we lined up this impulse response that you know, up against all of them, and every single one of them had that same characteristic to them. They were just overly sculpted, and all you heard were mids. And I was like, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. That's the suspicion that I had has been, you know, has been answered. It's true. Like all of this horrible sculpting that's been done to impulse responses over the years has become a trend across the board with every company, or I should say most companies. Okay, I'll just say that. I want to make blanket statements here, but most companies are doing this. And one of the reasons why is people have asked for it. Like, oh, you know, there's some fizz in my tone, and like, you know, can you guys figure out how to dial that out? Okay, we'll figure that out. Oh, mine's got too much low end, you know, can you figure out how to dial that out? Yeah. And then this whole mix ready trend started happening. So these companies capitalized on that. And they were like, well, why don't we just make these things mix ready so people can just drag and drop them in any mix and then they'll fit and everybody be happy because they don't have to tweak their guitar tones anymore. Now, I'm not saying that there was anything nefarious behind all of this, okay? It's just companies were trying to meet people's needs. But here's the problem with that. Your guys are guitar players. You're not mixing engineers. You're not live sound engineers. You're not studio engineers. You are guitar players, okay? That's what you do. What you're supposed to do is let live sound engineers and studio mixing engineers do their job. And their job is to actually sculpt your guitar tone for their specific mix with the specific instruments that you are going to be performing with in that specific room when it comes to stages or, you know, arenas or whatever the hell you're going to play, or that specific studio with all of the different instruments and effects and all that kind of stuff that's going on, you know, in those situations. And they don't even know what your final guitar tone is going to be like until they're right down to final mix day, where they're like, all right, now today's the day that we're going to sculpt that guitar tone and really make it fit where we want it. And if we need to do some reamping or whatever, we'll do that as well. But, you know, today's the day that we're going to finalize all that. Now, if you come in there with mix-ready impulse responses or presets or profiles or whatever, you're making those decisions for them, and you don't even know what they're mixing your guitar with, you know? So why are we making these decisions for people when we don't even know, you know, what they're going to need or not need when it comes down to final mix? It's your job to give your mixing engineer, whether it's live or in a studio, raw guitar tones. Let me say that again. It's your job to provide your mixing engineer, whether it's live or studio, with raw guitar tones. Let them sculpt them to their needs after they've blended them with all of the different instruments that they're blending them with. Let me give you an analogy, okay? So my camera right now that I'm filming with, right here, is color graded for this room, okay? For the colors of the walls, the lighting, and all the stuff that's going on in this room. So my camera is essentially mix ready, right? It's ready for my room. It's ready for me to shoot videos. All the color grading settings are in there. So if you were to take my settings and put them in your camera in your room, they would look like crap. Why? Because your lighting's different. The color of your walls is different. All that stuff is different. So you don't want my settings. They're not generic settings that fit anybody. And the same goes for mix-ready impulse responses or mix-ready presets or profiles or whatever. All right, so now let me do a quick demonstration for you so I can show you what I'm talking about. So what I have here is a preset with two different IRs. I have one of my own IRs, and then I also have a mix-ready IR. okay? And you're going to hear the difference, and I'll show it to you now. So the first riff I'll be playing would be with my IR, and then I'll switch to the quote-unquote mix-ready impulse response, which sounds very similar to most of the IRs that you're purchasing now. So you heard the difference, right? Same mics, same position, same speaker, same cabinet, but they sound vastly different from each other. Now I know I did not process mine at all. There's zero processing on mine, but you can hear a ton of processing on the other one. Now, the thing is what they did is they took out the low end, they took out the top end, so it's not too fizzy or too harsh or whatever, and they left you a bunch of mids. And it sounds honky, hollow, thin, and honestly, it just sounds disgusting. I would never use this, but a lot of you guys are using IRs just like this right now. And you're missing out on all that great texture, attack, aggression, fullness, thump, and that great feel that you're getting on from really good amplifiers and really good sounding impulse responses. All that character's gone. And that's the problem with these IRs. So am I bashing companies? No. Again, I know that they were trying to fulfill a need for you guys, because I remember people were constantly bitching about fizz and too much of this, and I gotta, tweak and this and that. And the funny thing is you guys all love to tweak. I mean, that's what most people do when they have modelers and profilers and stuff. They want to sit there and turn knobs all day. Well, spend an extra 10 seconds and turn the knobs on your IRs and pull the highs out a little bit and pull out a little bit of that low end, and you're done. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than sifting through IRs all day for hours and hours and hours. I mean, you're going to take hours and hours getting frustrated and getting ear fatigue trying to pick out the right impulse response for you, or you can get a great, raw, natural, real sounding guitar tone and just do a little fine tuning on it, and you're off to the races. That is the better way to go. It saves you a lot of time, and you'll actually start enjoying playing your guitar more and getting better at your craft. And because the impulse responses that I created here sound so natural and all that aggression's coming through, I'm finding that I'm cutting my gain levels in half on all of my presets now, and it's amazing. So now they're tighter and less saturated, and I'm still retaining a lot of great texture and aggression, but I don't need to crank the gain so high. And even when I did that with the other impulse responses that I used, all those mix-ready ones, I still wasn't getting what I was looking for at all. It just had more gain, but not more texture or aggression. And with these impulse responses, what I'm finding too is it's got a lot better feel. There's a better fullness and a thump when you're playing. And that's what amps do. That's what cabs do. They provide that really nice thump. There's a lot of air being pushed out of them. And when you're playing these hollow sounding mix-ready impulse responses, all that stuff's gone. It's been dialed out. And again, since you don't know what frequencies they dialed out, you don't know which ones to put back in. Well, with mine, they're raw and real. You can just sculpt them to your needs and you're done. And truth be told, I quit making presets for Marketplace on Line 6's website because I just wasn't excited about them. There was always something missing, and I'm such a perfectionist. I don't know, I just couldn't get excited about it. If I can't get excited about something, I just won't do it. So when I made this discovery last week, I was like, I'm going to start making presets again and see what I come up with. So I've spent the week making 6 different presets for Line 6's Marketplace, including a whole pack of impulse responses that you can get separately, and each one of my presets contain 2 of my IRs that I put in there that I blend together to make the preset sound amazing. And man, I've never been more excited about doing this. I mean, seriously, it's breathed a whole new life back into the Helix and made me like it all over again. And all this time, I wish I would have known this. And I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm definitely not shitting on anybody's work out there. I get why it's been done. It's because, again, a lot of people just wanted, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And as professionals, like, I'm not kidding you. If somebody came to me right now and said, I want some mix-ready IRs, I'll say, okay, and I'll make you some raw ones, and they are mix-ready. They're absolutely mix-ready because now you can sculpt them for any mix and make them work for you. Mix ready is just one of those, you know, gimmicky kind of things that's out there, and I'm telling you guys, it doesn't freaking work. It only works for one mix with specific instruments, and that's it. And unless you're in that mix with those impulse responses, it's a complete waste of your time and your money. You're better off going in there with raw guitar tones and spend a couple minutes sculpting them for that mix, and you're done. There's no guessing, there's no turning knobs and picking different things and all the frustration associated with that. Come on, guys, you know what I'm talking about. Pick one impulse response or blend two together, sculpt them for a few seconds, and you're done. That's the way it should be. I just feel like we've gotten lazy over the years and want everything done for us. Well, when people make decisions for you, they're not always the best ones, are they? Spend a little time with these, have some fun with them, sculpt them to your taste, and you'll have your own signature sound with them, and I think you're really going to like them a lot. And the challenge I have for you is play them for a couple days and go back to one of your favorites, and you'll hear the difference, and you'll be like, all this time, I can't believe I was using these. You know, now, am I saying that every single impulse response that you own and every single company out there is making impulse responses that don't sound good? No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there is a trend that is pretty popular and pretty common in the industry right now. And I think it's time that we kind of steer back towards real guitar tones and spending a few minutes sculpting them for ourselves rather than having people make decisions for us. Okay, so I'm going to play a couple of my presets for you. You heard one of them in the intro. That was the Rev purple channel preset that I made. And it's called Rev Perfection, kind of a play on words with purple and perfect. And I think it sounds really good. So I'm going to play a couple more for you. And if you're interested in these, go to Line 6's Marketplace and look up Tone Wars in the Marketplace, and you'll find all my presets there. Again, they each come with 2 free impulse responses that I blended for that preset. And if you want to just buy the whole pack, that's $30 and you can get all 40 of them and do whatever you want with them. I'm just really excited about this. Like I said, it's breathed new life into this product for me, and I was happy to make all these presets for you, and I'm going to start doing it again for the Pod Go and the HX Stomp, and even more with the Helix. All right, so really quick, let's just play a couple riffs on some of my presets now, and you'll just get to hear them, and then if they sound great to you, then go head on over to Marketplace and get some for yourself. Okay, so that was just a few examples of some of the presets that I have up on Line 6's Marketplace. If you liked anything that you heard, go ahead and check them out. And don't forget to get the IR pack. I mean, there's 40 IRs in there that you can mix and match. They're all phase aligned, so you can blend them together if you want, or just use them singly. And just do the fine-tuned cuts if you need to, you know, the high and low cuts, and you should be good to go. And also remember that all the presets come with 2 free IRs from that pack, so if you like what you got there, then you don't need to buy the pack. So do what works best for you. And as you heard in the beginning of this video, they sound really good in a full mix. They cut through just fine. Now before I go, I just want to make sure I emphasize this with you guys. I have a lot of respect for the impulse response makers out there. I think they're doing a great job, and I don't think there's anything nefarious regarding this whole mix ready thing. I think they were just trying to meet a need that they were hearing over and over again in the industry, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I honestly think that it's kind of gone too far, and I think it's about time we kind of got back to real guitar tones and having you guys tweak your own sounds yourself. Again, it only takes about 10 seconds. Low and high cut, and you're on your way. Now you're not turning knobs all day trying to find the right impulse response that works for you. So if they're good raw amp and cab tones, all you have to do is minimal tweaking and you're on your way. Now along with the 2 free impulse responses, each one of these presets comes with 4 snapshots. You get a crunch, which is like a dry rhythm channel, and then you get a big crunch, which I added some chorus and delay to. You'll get a lead channel, which will give you more gain and lots of great delay for that. And then you'll get a phase lead where I put the script mod phaser in there, and you get this awesome phaser effect on your leads. Well, I was really excited to share this video with you guys. Honestly, it took a while for me to do this because I wanted to come with the right approach. And one of my concerns is I didn't want people to think I just did this video so that I could sell presets and my IR pack. That's literally not what this is about. I mean, this literally started out as an experiment. I just wanted to find out if I was right about something. And like I said earlier, the IRs came out way better than I thought they would, and I figured I might as well share them with you guys. Because I know you guys would hear the difference in this video and go, well, where can I get these for myself? So I might as well just make a pack and put them up on the website and let you guys check them out for yourself. I mean, that'd be pretty crappy of me to just leave you hanging like that. I mean, that's the same thing as me saying, hey, I found where the gold is, but not telling anybody, but I keep it all for myself. I mean, I might as well let you guys enjoy these impulse responses and these presets as well. I don't want to be too preachy and all that because I don't think I'm better than anybody else when it comes to impulse responses. We just slapped the mics in front of the cab, did 0 processing, and captured the cab as is, and we really feel like we came out with something really good here. And it's kind of refreshing to hear real cab tones back in my Helix again after all these years. And again, I have a lot of respect for all the people out there making impulse responses. They're doing a great job. Let's just get back to real guitar tones. Well, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I either go live or come out with a new episode. Well, I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.